Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan presents a compelling narrative that delves deeply into the complexities of the human psyche, making it a rich subject for psychoanalytic exploration. The film deals with themes of identity, repression, and the duality of human nature, all of which can be examined through a psychoanalytic lens. The character of Nina Sayers, portrayed brilliantly by Natalie Portman, serves as a case study in obsession, self-doubt, and the struggle with the unconscious. Nina is a passionate ballerina whose singular pursuit of perfection leads her to compete for the lead role in Swan Lake. This role demands a delicate balance of innocence and sensuality, symbolized by the white swan and the black swan. Psychoanalytically speaking, Nina represents the conflict between her ego and her id, with her relentless pursuit for approval from her mother, her director, and herself manifesting in obsessive behaviors. Nina's relationship with her mother, Erika, embodies the classical Oedipal complexities. Erika's overbearing presence exacerbates Nina's inability to establish her own identity. Both formally and aesthetically, Black Swan elicits a visceral reaction, masterfully weaving together themes of duality, transformation, and the pressure of artistic endeavor. From its opening sequences, Black Swan employs a visual language that encapsulates Nina's fragile state. The cinematography features a documentary-style approach that enhances the sense of immediacy and intimacy. Handheld shots and a framed focus on Nina's expressions drove audiences into her world, creating a claustrophobic atmosphere that reflects her internal struggles. The use of light and shadow skillfully evokes a stark contrast. It serves as a visual metaphor for the duality she embodies between the innocent white swan and the seductive black swan. This juxtaposition is not merely aesthetic. It symbolizes Nina's psychological battle. At the heart of Black Swan is Nina's desire for perfection, a theme that resonates strongly with Freud's concept of superego, the part of the personality that embodies the ethical standards and desires imposed by society and parental figures. Nina is a product of her mother's controlling nature and the high expectations of her ballet career, leading her to internalize an extreme version of perfectionism. This internal conflict becomes increasingly pronounced as she grapples with the demands of her role as the Swan Queen, where she must embody both the innocent white swan and the seductive black swan. Sigmund Freud's notion of repression is also a pivotal aspect of Nina's character. Throughout the film, Nina suppresses her sexual desires and aggressive impulses to conform to her mother's idealized version of femininity and purity in dance. Her repression manifests in disturbing hallucinations with a fracturing sense of self, exemplifying the consequences of denying essential aspects of one's identity. Psychoanalysts would recognize Nina's descent into madness as her unconscious mind's attempt to settle these competing identities, ultimately leading to a tragic disintegration of her psyche. Throughout the film, we witness Nina's descent into madness, triggered by the external pressures of her environment and the internal dichotomy of her persona. The phenomenon of the double emerges prominently. Nina's struggle with darker sides of her psyche is represented through the darker character of Lily, played by Mila Kunis. Lily is not only a rival, but also a shadow self, embodying the parts of Nina's personality she represses. The projection of her insecurities into Lily draws from Jungian theory, where the shadow represents the unconscious part of the self. This duality is brought to the forefront during a pivotal dance sequence where Nina finally embraces her darker instincts, leading to a profound transformation. The interplay between Nina and her rival, Lily, serves as a mirror reflecting Nina's internal struggles. Lily represents the freedom and sexuality that Nina has repressed, and their contrasting relationships, one characterized by envy and admiration, the other by a struggle for dominance, illustrate the tensions between the ego and the it. While Nina initially perceives Lily as a threat, she ultimately becomes enthralled by Lily's uninhibited nature, prompting her to confront her own desires in a way that is both liberating and destructive. Lily acts as a shadow figure representing the repressed aspects of Nina's personality. As Nina's psychological turmoil intensifies, she begins to embody the duality of the Swan, beautifully illustrated in her transformation during the climactic performance. This metamorphosis is symbolic of the painful settling between her id-driven instincts and the constraints of her superego. The final act, where she fully embraces her darker self, serves both as a liberation from her self-imposed chains and a final submission to her tragic fate, a resonant exploration of the psyche's complexity that Freud would find compelling. The director Aronofsky intricately weaves these elements of body horror, manifesting Nina's internal turmoil through psychical transformation. Her compulsive nature leads to self-mutilation and external representation of her internal conflicts, reflecting the theory of somatization in psychoanalysis. Each scratched and bruise serves as a tangible manifestation of her psychological pain, highlighting the blurred line between the mind and body that psychoanalytic theory looks to understand. Nina's breakdown is punctuated by hallucinations. As she surrenders to her primal instincts, the boundaries of her identity dissolve, illustrating the concept of the fluid self discussed in psychoanalytic thought. Her journey culminates in a tragic culmination where the desire for perfection, Freud's notion of the death drive, ultimately leads to her self-destruction, representing the ultimate sacrifice for her art. Black Swan serves as a profound case study rooted in psychoanalytic theory, exploring themes of repression, identity conflict, and the implications of pursuing unattainable ideals. Nina Sayer's story is not just a narrative of descent into madness, but a poignant reminder of the necessity of integrating all aspects of the self for mental well-being. This majestic film thus invites nuanced discussions on balance between ambition and self-acceptance,